Last time we traveled back to the boat in the BVI. We were greeted by a festive environment at the airport.
Thank you.
We retrieved our luggage and made our way to Road Town Tortola. I took on some boat projects, such as replacing the coach roof steps. We looked over some of the projects that Dennis the carpenter performed, such as the slider door repair in the bar addition and rebuilding of the teak deck. We provision at the Right Way Market and get a few things for the boat. We install the full enclosure at the helm and the cockpit, and it takes us a little while. The condenser fan failed and I replaced it. Hopefully the freezer will start freezing. I attempted to install the B&G radar only to discover that the communications cable fell back into the mast. We untied the lines and got underway with our brand new Doyle cruising sails and headed for Norman Island.
We spent 2 days at the dock working on the boat, getting things ready, and now we're on our way.
We get a ball at Norman Island and I go for a swim. I quickly discover that Cabo is covered in barnacles. And the cleaning of the barnacles off the bottom of Cabo continues. While I was cleaning the bottom of Cabo, I had a visitor, a moon jellyfish. The moon jellyfish is named for its translucent moon-like bell. Instead of long trailing tentacles, the moon jellyfish has short tentacles that sweep food up towards the mucus layer on the inside edge of the bell. They can be up to 24 inches or 60 centimeters in diameter. Georgia is out on her floaty. This is a new one, as the round inflatable was starting to hurt her back. We were introduced to the hammock pool float, and I took the two inflatable parts and sewed them together to make a hammock chair. It seems to be working. It's unusual to have the wind blowing from the west, but the storm Tammy altered the weather a bit, so the front of the boat is now facing the sunset, whereas normally it blows from the east and this would be in the shade, but now it's in the sun. Tonight we are having dinner on the boat, flame-grilled burgers. It is dark out, so I am cooking with a headlamp so I can see what I'm doing. For whatever reason, that man overboard strobe light turns on at random times throughout the day.
Oh, it looks terrific, huh? Thank you.
My pleasure. Happy to do it. The mooring field is rather empty, and it is quiet this morning. I like this, as it feels untouched, remote, and serene, even if it's not. The boat that collects the mooring fees at Norman Island is out for an early start. Here's a pelican hook, and they used a spring from a clothespin. Someone broke the other ring because they're not pulling it in the direction of the pin. If you pull this way, it doesn't work. You got to pull this way. And here's one. This pin wasn't on there before, or this ring I should say, so I'll change these two out. And there we have it. Alright, so the rings have been replaced with stainless steel rings. Easy peasy. This is how you know they've been pulling super hard in the wrong direction. There's a nice flat spot there under the bimini. With a yoga mat, it's a great place to do some exercises or take a nap. I'm on the bottom step of the transom here. As you can see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. That gives us plenty of height so we don't get pooped if we're in a following sea, and Georgia and I have been in some big seas and we didn't have any issues. So it's another benefit of the 450S. It's time to go on an adventure. You want to pull on the cord and start it up, honey?
Yep.
This is the point where Georgia is asking herself, where is that cord? Good job. As the weather is calm and quiet, it is a perfect day to go for a dinghy ride to go and explore the south side of Norman Island. I have seen shallow bays from top of Norman Island and they look really inviting. And as such, I've always wanted to explore over there. The bays over there are too shallow for the sailboat, but may be perfect for the dinghy, so off we went. We took the dinghy and left the safety of the bight. We motor past the caves in Privateer Bay. We round the corner at Carvel Rock, and now we are in the open water and swells of the Caribbean Sea. We go by Sabu Mathia Bay and Bluff Bay. The swells and the surf on the beach are larger than I imagined they would be, so we did not land the dinghy on the beach or go ashore. Last time I shut the engine off to get the nature sounds, it was a disaster. I'm not sure that we went far enough to get to Money Bay, which is really shallow and quite picturesque, but this will have to be an adventure for another time. Regardless, it was a great boat ride and a spectacular day to be on the water. On the way back, we did a dinghy drive-by at Willie T's, but we did not stop. It was pretty early in the morning to be drinking. Yeah, I know, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. The day was young, and we decided to go for a hike on Norman Island. Being on the tail end of the rainy season, everything is in bloom. We also saw where there's a small farm on Norman Island. I imagine that the things grown here are probably used in the restaurant. It's interesting that the older I get, the more relative important things are like clean water, ranching, and farming. For without those goods, we have no life. There's no waves to make sand, so they have to pack it in. No one really needs too many material things. Really. Good and solid relationships, time together, where food and water is plentiful, and that, my friends, is a good quality life. Well, the day was not that young. The sun is high and it is getting hot. We find ourselves seeking shade as we make our way. And we are taking more breaks than we imagined we would need. All right. This is where I figured out that I took the incorrect path, and now we need to head back to find the correct path to the top of the hill. We made it to the top, barely. It was only a quarter mile to the top of the ridge, but given that I took us in the incorrect direction, we did walk 3 times that to get here. This is one of the bays on the south side of Norman Island. I think that this is part of Money Bay. I would love to snorkel here, as I imagine that it is mostly untouched. We rested, took in the view, and started to make our way down the hill. We're at top of Norman Island. It's unusual to see the bight empty of boats. Honestly, to get the most out of a vacation, we need to train and get ourselves into shape. Otherwise, opportunities are lost to being exhausted and too weak. Our adventures for the day are complete. Now it is time to relax and enjoy the serenity of the beach. And this beach is one of my favorites. Yes. See the tarpon out there, honey? Straight ahead.
Best that I don't see it. Will it hurt me?
see him now?
Yeah.
He won't bother you at all, honey.
Okay.
It's not a barracuda. Do you want me to go in with you?
When it is quiet at Norman Island, there is quite a bit of active marine life to be seen, which is just amazing. After lounging around and swimming a bit, it was time for lunch. The view from the restaurant is just spectacular. After lunch, we spend more time in the lounge chairs in the shade, enjoying a quiet day on the beach. The day evaporates away and comes to a close. We have a relaxed evening on board after a terrific day of adventure and rest. Come back next time as I take a morning snorkel at Norman Island. We get underway for Cooper Island and make our way to Salt Island in the dinghy. We have technical issues with the dinghy and are unable to turn it off. We snorkel Cooper Island and are wonderfully surprised when a spotted eagle ray swims right by and around us. All this and more. We would like to invite you to subscribe, like, and leave a comment or question. Thanks for watching.